I'm Jeanette Keynes from Jewelry Arts Inc. In this video, I'm going to show you how to bezel set a gorgeous cabochon turquoise. This is the open back setting that you may recall we soldered together before, and today's going to be the final step. So look at this unbelievably sexy job that Alexis did on this ring. It is so pristine and beautiful and gorgeous. I cannot even begin to describe how happy we all are with it. So basically we're ready to set. We're going to put it in the engraving ball and start setting, but I just wanted to take a moment to drink in the gorgeous beauty. Yay! So there it is. We're basically just doing our usual mummification, which is just, some garden variety painter's tape, because, we have this gorgeous wire around the edge, and, we all slip from time to time, and I've learned that the smartest thing to do is just always prevent against it, and then you're not sitting there going like, fuck it, fuck. And I mean, this ring is so gorgeous and so pristine, and like we're both just so excited about it. So we're gonna mummify, and then we're gonna set. But this is, your relatively standard issue setting. It's a cabochon. It doesn't have like really sharp points, but we will start with the pointier ends, just because those are you always start with like the pointiest or smallest. I mean, again, it's a pre-rounded curve, but we're gonna start that with the bezel roller, 45 degrees, north, south, east, west, and just work our way around, which we'll do a couple little shots of that, but we're at the finish line. Okay, so we're ready to set. As per always, I've got my beautiful bezel roller from my master setting tool set. You put it right in the palm of your hand, like so that your thumb and your finger snuggle on both sides, just like that. Because remember, when you're setting, all the force comes from your shoulder, so you shouldn't be like death gripping it, you know what I mean? Which a lot of people do, and it's very painful, and you don't want to do that. What you want to do, all the force comes from your shoulder. So once you position your tool, you'll see me, I'll just like lean in a little bit. I basically am just using the force of my body to apply all the pressure. Your fingers are more just about finesse and keeping the tool in the right spot. And it's also less painful, which there's also some people be like, I'm just not strong enough. And it isn't about, it's kind of like martial arts, not that I'm a martial artist, but it's about leverage. It's not about strength, okay? So I stand up though, because I'm short. And so in order to get that leverage, I need to be a little above. So we're gonna start with the smallest curve, which is what we always do. So we're gonna start on the little pointy ends right there. So I'm gonna set this up with the tool resting right on the top edge of the bezel. I know it's kind of hard to, maybe I can lean it toward you a little bit like that. Maybe that helps you see. And you make sure when you're doing this, you keep your elbow up in the air. Like what your mom told you to never ever do at the dinner table is exactly what you're supposed to do. Because if you don't have your elbow sticking way out, you won't get that 45-degree angle. Because here's the thing. I'll take my fingers away for a moment so you can see a little bit better. If I press like this at a 45-degree angle, I'm both pressing this in and down, which is what you want. If your angle's too low like this, basically the force just kind of, the path of least resistance, the stone essentially just wants to eject. And who hasn't had that shitty experience? So, of course, I always have a thumb or a forefinger resting on the stone. This is a beautiful tight bezel, so this thing is not gonna come flying out of here, but you just always as a precautionary measure. But that's why having that higher angle is essential, because that's what's gonna really set your stone in there nice and tight, rather than down here, which tends to just kind of eject it. Nobody wants that. Okay, so like this, and I'm just gonna press in a little bit, and I make it just a little side to side, like so. Roll it around, press in, back and forth. And one thing also I want to point out, you notice my motions are not real big. Like a lot of times people are like trying to, like, if you move around too much, you're much more likely to slip. So try to make, like, you press in, you kind of feel your seat, so to speak, like, okay, I'm in a good spot, and then you can just do a little bit of this, but don't try to make any big movements. So now, north, south, east, west. Press in, and you see what I mean? Just a little bit back and forth like that. And flip it around. press in, back and forth. Now I'm going to turn this over to Alexis, and she's going to do some more setting. I'm just going to push that down out of the way. And because basically now, of course, we'll do the other angles, and then we'll check in and see what her progress is. So look, we're just so excited about this. We're just like squealing like little 5-year-old girls here. You see how beautiful that looks? We're not 100% done, but we're almost done. There's a little wiggle still. So usually once I've gone around that 45-degree angle and it's pretty much closed against the stone, then I do what I consider like stage 2, which is like whoop, all the way up almost. So I'm gonna move my tool pretty much as high as I can without bumping into the stone. You know what I mean? So it depends on how high this sticks up. Right up in here like this, because then I'm going to press in side to side, and you see how right there it'll close those little tiny gaps, and it'll basically finish it off. Like no more wiggle, no more of those little tiny spaces. So I want you to go all the way around nice and high like this. See what I mean? Like so. You press and back and forth. Now, a lot of times I do this with a leather mallet, and we don't hit that hard. But since this is a turquoise, I would, because I like to live dangerously. Alexis does not like to live dangerously, and I see all over her face right now, she's like, absolutely fucking not. So we won't do that, but we will just have our angle up nice and high, okay? So I have lured Alexis into my clutches, and we are gonna use the leather mallet just a little bit. The thing with the leather mallet is I'm using not the lead filled ones, which are great for some things, but for stone setting, I don't want the lead filled, I want the lighter ones. And if you know if they're lead filled, if you're just like, oh, you know what I mean, they're a lot heavier. We're gonna take this and we're just gonna tap a little bit. And honestly, it's not so much that I'm gonna be hitting so hard with the hammer, it just applies leverage higher up than I can personally. No matter how high I stick my elbow up, I can't get it that high. So let me show you how I do it. I'm right-handed. I hold the bezel roller in my left hand, and the tool rests kind of like right in the middle of my pinky. Because the whole key with this technique is that you're not a piano player. You're not trying to like use all your fingers separately, which there's a lot to pay attention to, and so you don't want to have to try to operate all that like that. So what I do is do it like this, and when I move the tool, I'm just moving my whole hand. Nothing's moving. See what I mean? Just like that. Okay? So I'm going to put it right here, because if you look right along the stone, there are just tiny little gaps. Now, lots of people don't even see that or notice or care, but you know how OCD we are, so we're going to finish that up. Okay? So, because what I do then is my pinky rests on my surface, which is right here, so that my tool is just resting on the top right there, okay? And then, so you hear that sound, how like little and gentle this is. Now, if this were a harder stone, I might be slightly more violent, but honestly, this is not a like wham, wham, wham kind of thing. It's really just a little finesse, and this is applying the force. Okay. And this is really good at doing that last 5% that somehow can be really hard. You know what I mean? Those tiny little, and you're like, I can't get it to fill, or there's just this tiny little motion in there. You see what I mean? And then you see that section, how now those spaces are filled in. And it's very important, let me point out again, that sound is really key, because sometimes you only know if you're hitting something right if the sound is right. So, if you hear like too much, dial it back. It should be like just a little tap, tap, tap. Okay? So I'm gonna let Alexis do it. She loves it. I see how happy and excited she is. And we're almost done. Look at that. Is that not a thing of beauty? Look how neat and beautiful and gorgeous it is. So what we're going to do now is we're going to unshroud it. And for me, we're just going to do a swifty wheel, a little bit at that top edge. And that wheel is specifically designed, of course, so that it won't hurt your beautiful stone. And that's it. I mean, this thing is a thing of fucking beauty.
Are we recording the
A thing of fucking beauty, the big reveal. Yes, let's do it. As we slowly peel away. I can't get that there, so maybe we won't film. The first thing I do with anybody's jewelry is put it on, because I mean, look how beautiful that is. I told Alexis she leveled up today.
Pretty.
Gorgeous. Okay, so you're gonna use the Swifty just along the top edge. Because we shrouded it, we really don't have much else to do. What we might do though is just like put our thumb over the stone and maybe do the side with a little green paper. There also may be a little bit of adhesive in there from the tape, so we'll take like a little alcohol wipe or whatever, but that's it. So we're gonna do those tiny little things and then we'll do a final shot.